I think achievement is really about being the very best that you can be as any individual. So whatever the situation that you face, whatever your background, whatever your education, whatever it happens to be, it's about you getting to that level that kind of pushes yourself to do the most you can with the gifts you've been given in life. Obviously that's a combination of what you've inherited, the environment in which you've grown up in, the situation you find yourself in. So I think achievement is really very much about an individual and how much you're able to get to the point that you are able to in your own life and in your own career. I guess could be described as a late developer. So I didn't do particularly well in my O-levels, as they then were, or my A-levels. We did go to university. I studied economics at university. I did okay. I wouldn't have said I was a star student. I actually enjoyed life probably a bit too much to be a real star student. And I suppose because I wasn't doing medicine, I didn't have to work all that hard. I used to look at my siblings and, with no envy whatsoever because they were working flat out. But equally, they knew what their career was going to be. I didn't. I kept on thinking, what am I going to do when I grow up? And I started my career in food, in marketing food. I was brand manager for Hovis Bread. It was my first real job when I came to London. And I ended up, first time I ended up in London Underground was by accident when I applied for a job, didn't get it, but they kept ringing me up and saying, we think we might find you something. Eventually they did. So I found myself really here originally by accident. I then left for a spell to go off to run Heathrow Airport for BAA, and that was an interesting time as well. If I'm being honest, still then I sat there thinking I'm not sure what I want to do when I grow up. And then I found myself really by accident coming back to TfL, back to London Underground as the managing director, when the Commissioner for Transport, Peter Hendy, and the Mayor, Boris Johnson, persuaded me that was what I should be doing. But it was an entirely accident. I never think about these things as being planned, because if I pretended they were, I would be misleading you. If I thought about it too much, I'd probably never get out of bed in the morning, because I'd just be so terrified of what each day would bring. But actually, you're right, to the extent that there are lots of small elements that make up the overall picture. And actually, the Olympics was a good example of demonstrating that, because the only way the Olympics and Paralympic transportation service worked was by all the pieces of the jigsaw coming together at once and working together as, like a bit like an engine of a car or something. Unless you have all the components there working together, it's not going to happen. And I was really struck by the fact that every train driver did what they needed to do. Every member of the maintenance team beforehand had prepared the track and the signals to be in the optimum level of performance before the games. The engineering guys would be working for 5, 6, sometimes up to 10 years to deliver the big projects. Stratford Station, the Jubilee Line upgrade, the new signalling on the Victoria Line, whatever it was, all those people had had a significant role to play to get us to that moment in time. And on the day, of course, it's every single person standing on the gate line at Stratford helping give the information, the announcements. And I did a few dead late shifts there myself, where I stood there, directing people as they came out of the Olympic Stadium, having finished for the night. And that was a really, really powerful experience for me, because I just loved being with these guys and girls at the front line, helping deliver a tiny bit of that direct service myself. So I do think it was about everyone coming together. Of course, there was a huge group of contractors, suppliers, the cleaning staff, the lift engineers, whoever they were, that were all part of that overall picture as well. So, it is quite a, I know I've used the word before, but it is quite a humble experience to be working amongst such a great team who were all delivering the bits. So I think the achievement is, as ever, a collective achievement. You can pick out individuals, and indeed there were some fantastic individuals that I witnessed and know of who did some great things, but it's always about the team.
Are there days where you do feel overwhelmed?
Of course. Of course, I wouldn't be human if I didn't acknowledge it. Do I leap out of bed every single Monday morning thinking I can't wait to get to work? Or do I kind of wish it was still Sunday? Well, I'll be honest, just occasionally I wish it was still Sunday. But the fundamental thing that makes you tick is if you can make a difference day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year, if you can make a difference to people travelling around in this city, whether it's to get to work, whether it's to go out in the evening, whether it's to go and see friends and family, if you can make a difference just all the time, an incremental difference, then I think it's got to be worthwhile.